Wow, you really outdid yourself. I'm glad I entrusted this to you. However, if you could just go the extra mile and give this presentation in Spanish for our international clients, it would be perfect, don't you think? Mitchell, the department head, had just forced the new female employee to give a presentation. And now he was pushing her to present in Spanish as well. What? There's no way I can suddenly give a presentation in Spanish. Huh? I told you there would be international executives attending today, didn't I? It's common sense to be prepared for that. But that's impossible. The new employee, completely unprepared, was pale and on the verge of tears after being told to present in Spanish. I couldn't stand watching this any longer. Mitchell, let me handle the Spanish presentation. Ha! You, the incompetent one? Mitchell scoffed, daring me to try, but as I began speaking, the color drained from his face. Now, it's time to get back at him for everything he's done. I work for one of the largest auto parts suppliers in the US. Until recently, I was stationed at a regional office, but now I'd been transferred to the first sales division at headquarters, the company's prized team. There were 5 of us who were newly assigned to the division, including the well-known beauty, Ivy. On our first day, Mitchell, the head of the division, gave us a greeting. Welcome, new employees. This first sales division is the elite core of the company. Our job is to promote our top products both domestically and internationally and expand our markets. We're talking deals worth millions to tens of millions of dollars. A mistake can cost you everything, so you'd better stay sharp. It's all about sales. First, second, and from third to 10th, it's still sales. Just increase the numbers. Got it? Mitchell yelled in an intimidating tone, slowly scanning each of the newcomers' faces. When he got to me, he sneered in disdain. Well, I never thought I'd see you again. Managed to claw your way back from that regional office, huh? Though, I wouldn't be surprised if you had to go back again. Just don't cause too much trouble until then, all right? Mitchell was openly mocking me. The other new employees seemed to get the impression that I must have made some kind of mistake in the past. Mitchell and I used to work together in the PR department at headquarters. Back when I joined the company, I was full of enthusiasm, eager to land as many deals as possible by working harder than anyone else. Mitchell didn't like my ambition and constantly gave me a hard time, pushing impossible tasks on me whenever he could. He has a habit of relentlessly bullying employees he doesn't like. It was because of Mitchell's harassment that I was transferred from headquarters to a regional office. This situation was clearly a continuation of that. As expected, Mitchell kept comparing me to the other new employees, throwing passive-aggressive remarks my way. He especially liked to compare me to Ivy, constantly praising her achievements. Ivy, you're really something. Graduated from Harvard, great at your job, and beautiful, too. They say no one gets everything in life. But you seem to have it all. Makes me proud. Keep up the good work. Oh no, it's all thanks to your guidance, Mitchell, and the senior staff's support. Well, and then there's Mark. What are you even doing? Maybe you should try to learn something from Ivy. Sure. Your sales numbers in the sticks were okay, but that was probably just luck, right? Not that I have high hopes for you. But at least don't drag me down, got it? If you screw up again, I'll make sure you get transferred even further away. Yes, sir. I'll keep that in mind. Keep that in mind? Don't just give me lip service. If you really understood, your sales would be double what they are now. Are you even taking this seriously? Get it together. The truth is, my numbers weren't bad at all, and I had already exceeded my targets. But Mitchell chose to ignore that. Some of the other new employees seemed to start noticing the oddity of me being criticized despite my good performance. Mark, you're hitting your targets, so why is Mitchell being so harsh? Mitchell is the kind of guy who likes to tear down employees he doesn't like. That's just who he is. Meanwhile, Ivy, the star new employee, was steadily increasing her sales, thanks not only to her talent but also to her attractive appearance. Many of the clients we dealt with were male executives. And having someone as beautiful and capable as Ivy in sales often led to favorable responses. Of course, business is all about skills and results, but I couldn't help feeling that her looks were working in her favor in some cases. Still, I worried that her success might draw unnecessary attention or trouble. Ivy, you're amazing. You're talented and beautiful. Mark, please stop bringing up my looks. Do you think I've gotten this far without putting in any effort? I've worked twice as hard to make sure people don't just see me for my appearance. Sorry, that was thoughtless of me. Her sharp tongue didn't stop, clearly triggered by my careless words. And why are you even in the first sales division, Mark? This team is made up of top sales talent. I heard you doubled sales at your regional office. But is that true? Honestly, from the way you act here, I don't see you putting in any effort. There are plenty of people fighting for a spot in this division. If you're not going to try, stop wasting a valuable position. Oh, sorry. You always look so relaxed and unbothered. If you're not serious about this, why don't you just ask HR for a transfer? She had probably been judged as just a pretty face by others for much of her life. But knowing that, she never gave up and continued to work hard. It was only natural that someone like her would become the top performer in the sales division. Mitchell took even more of a liking to Ivy. Ivy, we've got dinner with the department head of the client later, so you're coming with me. Yes, I'd be happy to join you. This started happening more frequently, with Ivy being roped into client dinners. She didn't realize that Mitchell was using her as nothing more than eye candy for these meetings. Ivy, you know, the company doesn't encourage attending client dinners outside of work hours, right? Even if it's with Mitchell, I wouldn't recommend doing it too often. Honestly, you should keep some distance from him. Is that jealousy talking? And you seem like the type who doesn't value casual settings. Right now is when I need to push myself. I'm aiming higher. Don't lump me in with someone as unmotivated as you. My advice fell on deaf ears. Then one day, Mitchell selected Ivy to lead the presentation for a major project. Ivy, I'm sure you can handle it. This is a huge project for the company's future, and it's an honor for a newcomer like you to be chosen. Yes. I'll do my best. This project involved marketing the company's newly developed EV control system to both domestic and international markets. Not only the sales department but also the PR and development teams were involved in the massive promotional campaign. But honestly, assigning such an important presentation to a new employee was a reckless move. Some voices from the PR department raised concerns as well. It felt like the company was using the attractive Ivy as a poster girl because of her elite background. Some employees even started gossiping about Mitchell's relationship with Ivy, speculating that there might be more to it. Whether good or bad, it was definitely a hot topic. However, with the project being a new product launch, there was an overwhelming amount of data to compile. including cost-effectiveness comparisons with the previous control system and competitor analysis. It was far too much for one person to handle. Of course, the development and manufacturing teams were helping out, but even so, it was too much for Ivy alone. And on top of that, I knew she was being dragged out for drinks with Mitchell almost every night. She was working overtime daily and barely getting any sleep, her face becoming paler and more exhausted. The dark circles under her eyes were unmistakable, and her appearance was suffering as a result. "Ivy, can I help with anything? There must be something I can do to lighten the load." When I offered to help, seeing her desperately compiling documents in the conference room, she glared at me as if insulted that I, of all people, was offering her pity. "I'm fine. I don't need any help from you, Mark. I can handle this on my own." Still, I knew things would only get worse if she didn't get some help, so I pressed on. "Okay, but if you push yourself too hard and collapse, you won't be able to do the presentation at all. I can help with organizing the data or any background tasks. Just let me do something to help." After thinking it over, she seemed to realize the practical benefits of accepting my offer. "All right, if you insist. Could you put together a comparison chart for the competitors' products?" "Sure, no problem." From that point, I started helping Ivy with the presentation materials. As I worked alongside her, it became even clearer how overwhelming the workload was. I couldn't shake the feeling that Mitchell had some ulterior motive in play here. "Here you go, Ivy. How's this?" I handed the document I had finished making to Ivy. "What? It's done already? This is amazing. It's so well organized and easy to understand." "Mark, who are you, really?" "Me? I'm just an ordinary employee." "I'm glad it helped, though. But seriously, this workload is insane. If you had tried to do it all alone, you would have broken down. It's fine if you don't mention my help, but please let me keep lending a hand." "What? Are you sure?" "Of course. Thank you." To be honest, I wasn't sure how I was going to get through all this on my own. There was no way I could let all her hard work go to waste. I wouldn't let Mitchell get what he wanted. I did everything I could to reduce Ivy's burden. Thanks to that, we managed to finish the presentation materials the day before the big meeting. "Mark, thank you. If you hadn't helped, there's no way I could have gotten this far." No, it's all thanks to your hard work, Ivy. Now all that's left is to nail the presentation. Let's do this." And so, we headed into the presentation for the new product that would determine the company's future. The room was packed with key executives from major car manufacturers. And even international executives were attending virtually. Ivy's presentation was smooth and on point. With her radiant smile and professional demeanor, the audience was attentive and in good spirits throughout. It was clear that her presentation was being very well received. After she finished, Mitchell stood beside her and said, "Ivy, as expected, you nailed it. I knew I could count on you." "Thank you. It's all thanks to your recommendation, Mitchell." Just as we were about to move on to the Q&A session, Mitchell dropped a bombshell. "But you know, since we've got so many international clients today, if you could push it just a bit further, it would be absolutely perfect." "What do you mean?" "Well, for example, if you could seamlessly switch to Spanish and finish the presentation in style." "What? Come on, you're talented. That should be easy for you." "But I can't. I wasn't prepared for this." There's no way I can suddenly present in Spanish without any preparation. What do you mean, suddenly? I told you there was a possibility you'd need to do it in Spanish, didn't I? No, you just told me I'd be giving a presentation. You never said anything about doing it in Spanish. Are you making excuses now? I told you international executives would be attending today. Preparing for that should have been common sense. But when she was originally assigned the presentation, it was only to deliver it in English. She could probably manage a few greetings in Spanish, but giving a detailed presentation with technical terms? That was impossible. Yet Mitchell continued to back her into a corner. What? You can't do it? You graduated from Harvard, didn't you? If you can't even manage this, you'll tank not just the presentation, but the entire deal. But trying to present in broken Spanish would be even worse. Don't talk back. When you're told to do something, you do it. I couldn't stand watching Ivy turn pale and crumble under the pressure any longer. Mitchell, let me handle the presentation in Spanish. What? You? There's no way you can pull off a presentation in Spanish. You won't know unless I try, right? Don't make the same mistake as last time, Mark. If you mess up again, I'll make sure you're transferred even further away. I'm prepared for that. I stepped in front of Ivy and began the presentation in fluent Spanish. I started with a greeting, thanking the executives for allowing me to introduce our new product. Then I walked them through the product's development process and highlighted its strengths. Finally, I outlined the benefits of using the product and how it would enhance profitability, even throwing in some specific numbers. As I spoke effortlessly, the overseas executives started nodding and commenting, "Excellent" and "Amazing." But I didn't stop there. I continued by presenting in Hindi for the Indian executives and in Mandarin for the Chinese executives. Mitchell stared at me in shock, mouth agape, as I seamlessly switched between languages. Just like before, the room erupted in applause, and I concluded the multilingual presentation without a hitch. Not only did the presentation go smoothly, but we successfully secured contracts with several major companies. In fact, many of the clients specifically requested that I be their point of contact moving forward. A few hours later, we were called to the CEO's office, where Mr. Nash personally praised us for the success. Of course, Mitchell was there too. Unaware of the full story, Mr. Nash complimented Mitchell as well, attributing the success to his leadership. Mitchell, as smug as ever, proudly took credit for it all, basking in the praise. As soon as Mitchell left the CEO's office, he muttered to himself with satisfaction, "Well, this seals my promotion." Then he turned to us and said, "Don't let today's success go to your head." From my perspective, that presentation was just a cheap trick. You wouldn't have gotten praise from Mr. Nash if I wasn't your boss. Remember, from now on, you need to be ready to handle any request that comes your way. And with that, he walked off. What a guy! As I stood there, baffled, Ivy turned to me and bowed her head. "Mark, thank you so much. If you hadn't stepped in back there, we wouldn't have secured the contracts. And who knows what could have happened to the company's reputation. Just thinking about it still makes me shake. But how is it that you can speak not just Spanish, but also Hindi and Chinese fluently? Who are you, really?" Well, back when I was a new employee, Mitchell did the same thing to me. During my first presentation, he suddenly told me to give a speech in Spanish. I panicked, and my broken Spanish led to a disaster. We barely managed to secure the deal, but Mitchell blamed it all on me for being unprepared. And I got shipped off to a regional office. Back then, I had graduated from a top-tier university and was expected to be on the fast track to success. I worked tirelessly to meet those expectations. But that's when I caught Mitchell's attention. He worked me to the bone, barely letting me sleep. The results I gave were considered Mitchell's, and ultimately I was sent to a regional office for a single presentation error. Later, I learned that this was how Mitchell operated, and I can't tell you how much it infuriated me. When I first arrived at the regional office, I was completely disheartened, but I couldn't get Mitchell's smug face out of my head. I realized I couldn't let it end like that, so I started studying languages. I see. The regional office was located near a U.S. military base and a large auto manufacturing plant, so it was a melting pot of different cultures. A businessman working with the base offered to teach me Spanish at a low cost, and the pub I frequented was full of people from China and India, who were more than happy to teach me their languages in exchange for a few drinks. Among them was Rudra, who, when I was first sent to the regional office and feeling down, was the one who really listened to me. We'd drink together, and I'd vent my frustrations. There were nights when I'd cry after a call from my family, who were worried about me. Even at my lowest, Rudra never showed any sign of annoyance and always stuck by my side, encouraging me. Mark, life has its ups and downs. When things are bad, just drink. I'll listen to all your complaints. We clicked immediately and shared many conversations. As he taught me Hindi, we bonded over barbecues and road trips, becoming close friends. Mark, you're a great guy. I used to think Americans were shallow, but you're honest and trustworthy. Rudra, you're so kind and easy to be around, and I love your sense of humor about money. Yes. Indians love money. But we love having fun even more. American barbecue is the best. He especially loved American barbecues, which lined up perfectly with my hobbies. I told him I'd love to visit India one day to have an Indian-style barbecue and go on a road trip to see the vast landscapes. And he promised to show me around when the time came. We spent as much time together as we could. And honestly, learning from native speakers turned out to be way more effective than any language class. That's how I was able to pick up Hindi, which is said to be tough for Americans, in no time. Thanks to all that, I'm now fluent in Spanish, Hindi, and Chinese. I'm thinking about tackling French and Arabic next. That's incredible. But why did you keep it hidden for so long? Because Mitchell was up to something. He's the type to crush any talented newcomers who might threaten his position. I was one of his victims, and I heard that other new employees got the same treatment after I was sent to the regional office. So, I was this close to being crushed too, huh? Pretty much. That's why I kept my skills under wraps, just in case he tried something. It's better to be prepared, right? Wow. I had no idea. I've been so arrogant and rude to you, Mark. I'm really sorry. I was the one who didn't understand. Ivy sincerely apologized for how she treated me. But I can't forgive Mitchell for what he's doing. Taking all the credit for his team's hard work and pushing them beyond their limits. Destroying their futures in the process. It's unacceptable. You're right. There's actually a reason I was transferred to this department. What? Wait, you don't mean? If there's anything I can do to help, I'll do whatever it takes. I confided in Ivy, telling her a secret. A few days later, on the day of our regular meeting with one of our major clients, the client's CEO, who happened to be visiting the U.S., was scheduled to attend. Mitchell, who had been tasked with delivering the sales report, stood nervously before the executives. Just as he was about to begin, I stepped forward with determination. Before Mitchell delivers his sales report, I have something important to share with everyone. As I spoke, I projected some documents onto the screen. There was a brief murmur in the room, but I remained calm and began addressing the international executives in Spanish, Hindi, and Chinese, exposing Mitchell's fraudulent activities. On the screen was clear evidence of payments funneled through a fake account from subcontractors, with the money ultimately landing in Mitchell's personal account. Additionally, a video played showing a secret deal Mitchell had made with a certain company at an exclusive members-only club. Mitchell had been forcing the subcontracted parts factory to lower their prices while keeping the invoice amounts unchanged, pocketing the difference. He then used that money to fund excessive client entertainment and secret deals. There were even traces of him illegally funneling company property. Stop. Mark, what proof do you have to back up these lies? They're not lies. All this evidence is real. In truth, my actual position was within the CEO's direct audit department. My skills at the regional office, along with my history of working under Mitchell, had caught Mr. Nash's attention, and he had tasked me with investigating Mitchell's activities. Suspicion had already reached Mr. Nash, who'd heard rumors about Mitchell's shady dealings. The reason the investigation went so smoothly was thanks to the audit department's support. Mitchell's face turned pale, beads of cold sweat forming on his forehead. Don't listen to this low-level employee. Everything he's saying is just a bluff. I swear, I haven't done anything wrong. No matter what excuses he tried to come up with, it was too late for Mitchell, though he didn't seem to realize it yet. Then, the CEO of the client company, seated in the middle of the room, finally spoke up. Mark would never lie. I believe his testimony. Mitchell is the one at fault here. What? You're. Sitting on the chair of the client's CEOs was none other than someone I knew well. It was Rudra, the same Rudra who had taught me Hindi. I've heard about Mitchell's reputation. He's known for trapping new employees and sending them off to regional offices. I don't trust him. So our company will not be dealing with Mitchell, but Mr. Nash, what will your company do? Yes, we'll conduct a thorough investigation and take appropriate action against Mitchell. Please rest assured. I see. In that case, I hope you'll assign someone more suitable going forward. Absolutely. Consider it done. With Mr. Nash's response, Mitchell slumped, his face a picture of defeat, and left the room as if it were the end of the world. I hadn't known Rudra was the CEO of a major car manufacturer, but looking back, he probably already knew who I was. I remember how, during our drinking sessions, he'd listened intently to my rants about Mitchell, asking more questions than most people would care to hear. After the meeting was over, Rudra gave a cool thumbs up to me. I sneakily responded by giving a thumbs up to Rudra, too. We both left the place with a smile on our faces. Later, I submitted all the evidence to the audit department, and after a thorough investigation into the fraudulent claims, Mitchell's crimes were fully exposed. Mitchell had threatened the factory manager, saying he'd reduce their orders unless they lowered their prices. The manager, feeling he had no choice, complied and participated in the fraudulent claims. Upon learning the full extent of Mitchell's actions, Mr. Nash demoted him and placed him on disciplinary leave. Mitchell, when questioned, admitted he was afraid of up-and-coming employees threatening his position. That's why he sabotaged promising rookies before they could become a threat. Mitchell, why would you do this? Ha! You future stars wouldn't understand my anxiety. To maintain my position as department head, I needed results. So I thought I could make some extra money from that factory. Doesn't that feel empty? After you sent me off, I worked hard and made my way back here. But what about you? All you did was crush talented new employees without putting in any real effort. What do you have to show for it now? He went silent. I'm going to climb higher, but I'll do it through my own hard work. Cheating like you won't leave anything behind for me, and you know that. Don't you? Mitchell, biting his lip in frustration, left the company for good. Soon after, Rudra's company specifically requested that I be assigned as their point of contact. Of course, Rudra and I remain equals and good friends to this day. Recognizing my role in exposing Mitchell's fraud, I was officially promoted to the position of sales department head. Mark, congratulations on your promotion. I'm truly inspired by your hard work. Please continue to guide me. I'll follow you wherever you go. Ivy, full of respect, worked diligently to improve her sales performance and language skills. She follows me around, wanting to learn about my sales attitude. Before long, she started spending so much time working alongside me that she began staying at my place instead of going home. Eventually, we started dating, and today, she's become my wonderful wife. I used to think being sent to the regional office was a major detour in my life, but that wasn't the case at all. That transfer was something I needed in order to succeed. Every challenge, even setbacks, is just another step on the path to success. There are no shortcuts to achieving your goals. Success is best achieved by putting in steady, consistent effort every day. There's no need to rush. I'll continue walking through life, one step at a time, staying true to myself with each step forward.